All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the table for our final spread in the ongoing archetypal spreads of the Beatles and what their places in the band were. And tonight we're going to look at Mr. William Shepherd, Mr. Billy McCartney, number 6 himself. Yeah, I've been anxious to do this reading because it is, it's just been up till this point with like my tarot readings on the Beatles, especially Billy, right? We would get the Fool constantly, and we've been told that Billy his tarot card is the Fool, right? And he's the Fool on the hill. And so with those tarot readings, I'm just being how they were. I'm just kind of anxious to see what the cards have to say. Plus, I feel like the cards have really been spot on up to this point as far as what they have to say. And I just feel like we have definitely chimed into something regarding Billy. So let's see what the cards have to say. All right. First card. The Dead End. The comic, you guys, the comic. Oh my God, the Fool. Oh, and Ringo's reading, we got the ring in the second position here too. Holy shit. The Mountain, the Dead End, the comic, the Mountain. Oh my God. Oh my God. This is crazy. Really crazy. Okay. Fourth card. The Mirror. Oh my gosh. The Mirror. Like he's the mirrored image of Paul. The Box. What's in the box? Okay, maybe that's the box of evidence that Heather McCartney has. Just joking. Heather Mills. Sorry, not McCartney. There you go, guys. The Vow. Just like John. Bam. We have the Dead End, the comic, the Mountain, the Mirror, the Box, and the Vow for Mr. Billy McCartney. Never ceases to amaze me. Holy shit. Well, let's take a look at what the cards have to say. All right, guys. So let's take a look at Mr. Williams' archetypal spread according to the guidebook. So the Dead End represents the closed door, the final chapter, or the impasse. So contrary to what its name implies, the Dead End is very much alive. It is a force that stops us from moving forward as planned. It is thick, dense, uncompromising, a wall beyond all walls, with every bramble, thorn, and stone. It simply states, "No more, child. You have reached the last page of this chapter." It is natural to resist its very resistance and struggle even harder to make our way, to prove our point, to hold on to what was. In this way, we fight with life itself. From a mythic perspective, the end you face is very much a beginning. There are doors opening all around you, just not the one you planned on walking through. If you are honest and courageous enough to accept adjust, and adopt, the dead end becomes known as life's beginning. Oh, wow. Does this not sound like the death card in the tarot deck? I love this though. Like it's if you're honest and courageous enough to accept, adjust, and adapt. Yeah, guys. Billy had to definitely adjust, accept that his past life was no longer existent and had to adapt to his new life. Crazy. Okay, so in black on the left, reflect on dead ends in your past that led to unimaginable wonders. Oh my God. The moment you accept the ending, a feeling of grace will arise. Doors begin to open both inside you and in the world. In red on the right, note that in most stories and movies, the moment the protagonist reaches the dead end, something riveting happens. You are the protagonist. Oh my goodness. Okay, so when light, this card represents acceptance, humility, relief, reverence for change. When it's dark, it represents inertia, stuckness, tension, unconscious gripping. Very fascinating. What a card to start with. The card of adaptation. Next, we roll to the comic, which my mind is blown about this, getting this card, you guys, just because Billy is the fool. And his archetype obviously does not want to deny him that title. The jester of the royal order of the jesters, right? Okay, so the comic represents the Joker, the clown, or the fool. The comic carries a remedy for all that ails this world. Amid the deepest pain and suffering, there is always the potential to lift up out of the darkness through laughter. Though dismissed by some as lowbrow or unsophisticated, this archetype actually has a highly advanced mind. Some may use the word genius, as humor requires one to see the situation from afar rather than to be swept away by the drama. The comic sees and accepts the messiness of life, using it as material to be mixed and shaped into a potion to soothe the stressed and serious mind. They literally lighten us up. Thus, within the working healing magic upon any audience, oh, I'm so sorry, I skipped ahead. Thus, within the comic is usually the sage or the magician working healing magic upon any audience who will lend an ear. Lend me your ears, guys. The comic may be the archetype that heals to deep division in our world. One pun at a time. Yes, so perfect. I cannot believe this. I am just like grinning from ear to ear. I guess Billy did his job for me today, right? Lightening me up with this crazy metaphysical shit that is connected to him. Okay, so in black on the left, the comic has plenty of shade to throw on others, and it can fall into shadow at the drop of a hat. Beware of their claws. Yes, they are wolves in sheep's clothing. To you about the Maharishi being um, the so-called inspiration for the Fool on the Hill, when it was a mixture of the Maharishi and the actual Fool card in the tarot deck. Okay, so when this card is light, it it is hilarious, ingenious, spirited, and easygoing. Billy is definitely appears to be easygoing. When it's dark, sarcastic, harsh, brooding, or drunk. I've heard, many accounts that he had struggles with the drink in his life, especially after Linda passed away and all the shit with Heather Mills and stuff happening. So very, very, very cool. Okay, so let's keep trucking. The mountain is the next card, which represents the ascent, the fear, the insurmountable. All right, so the mountain stands eternally in our awareness, calling us towards its peak. It stirs up stoic and regal feelings, reminding us of the long line of spirits, sages, sadhus, and gods that made their humble thrones within its snowy peaks. Beware, though, as the mountain can affect us in two ways. It can inspire and enliven us to rise to new heights and peak experience. Yet it can also create isolation, competitiveness, and an inflated sense of self. Standing upon its heights can activate the pursuit and the perfectionist in us, creating separation from those we deem to be below. No matter how high you ascend, remember that it is within the core of the mountain that the gems, minerals, and jewels reside. If you think it's all about going up, you're following the fool's path and missing the miner's magic. Holy shit. And also, too, the cave represents the hermit, and the knowledge that is constantly sought after by the hermit. But I really find it interesting that this ended with, if you think it's all about going up, you're following the fool's path and you're missing the magic. Wow. Okay. So, I mean, this could be even an inflated sense of ego, knowing that he comes from this legacy. He comes from this legacy of, warriors, of magicians, just all kinds of crazy, um, different genetics pumping through his blood. And yeah, I consider this perfect, and it matches with the first two cards perfectly. Okay, so in red on the left, research mountains. Find one that strikes you and stare at it for a while. Where is it? The pilgrim may be awakening in you. The summit calls. Okay, on the right in black, contemplate Joseph Campbell's suggestion. You are the control. Oh, I'm sorry. You are the central mountain, and the central mountain is everywhere. Sorry, I couldn't read that for a second. Okay, so when this card is light, it shows someone who's grounded in the eternal, steadfast, and uplifting. When dark, ominous, daunting, isolated, and frigid. Wow. Okay, so the mountain, I mean, it shows the sage within, the magician within, and being on the fool's path because you're not seeing that what's on the inside of people and situations that matters most. That's how I see it, at least. Okay, so next card is the mirror, which represents the reflection, the illusion, the looking glass. Oh, how appropriate are these cards? Oh my God, I'm tripping out. We look into mirrors every day without recognizing them as portals into another realm. They can shatter, flatter, distort, reflect, and project an image back to us that we deem to be true. The energy of the mirror is all about self perception. When the archetype of the mirror appears, we are in the mythic land of Narcissus, who saw himself reflected in a pool and fell in love with his own image. Oh my God. So compelled by his reflection, he could not turn away, a fixation that eventually led to his death. Recognize the power and danger of the mirror. It is a construct, one that may drive a shard between you and your true self. The mirror contains trickster energy. Put the phone down, stop with the comparisons, and let the mirror stand empty for a while. Rest with the one inside. Holy shit. This card can go so many different ways. And I guess to this specific person that we're talking about, guys, the reflection. Who is he a reflection of? Paul McCartney. The illusion. What was the illusion? The illusion is the whole facade of them doing this replacement and thinking that the rest of the world would never notice, and treating those of us who see the truth as quacks and crazies. Wow. And yes, the looking glass, also a portal. I am just blown away by these cards for Billy. Again, I'm just like, yeah. Okay, so in black on the left, it says, speak to yourself gently and kindly in the mirror. It will feel awkward at first, but it is a sure way to become friends with yourself. And in red on the right, it says, for further reflections, read the poem I Am Not I by Juan Yemez and Yoko Ono's Mirror Piece in Grapefruit. How ironic that they mention Miss Yoko Ono in this. Oh, you can't make this shit up. All right. So when this card is light, it represents witnessing the deeper self, pure awareness. When dark, it's narcissism, comparison, or harsh edges. The other thing that struck me with this when I was reading it was it says um, that the mirror is a construct, one that may drive a shard between you and your true self. Bam, right there. This is just eerie to me now. My gut is like so tight. I cannot believe these cards. Okay, so we're gonna talk about the box. The box. What's in the box, man? Okay, so the box represents the cage, the rules, or the norm. We all live to some degree within the confines of the box. This archetype represents everything that is known, anticipated, and expected. It holds us in place while simultaneously holding us back from our greatest visions. The box is sneaky, that trickster energy of the mirror. insidious and everywhere, limiting us at the most unconscious levels. It is built of a layer upon layer of social constructs and pressures. Breaking through its confines requires awareness, continued effort, and bravery. The box may appear as expectations from parents, a well paying but heartless job, the pressure to look or behave like others, or simply to stay small. There is a box around you now made of some type of confining thought. What is it? The box shifts and morphs as we grow. This is part of its multi layered nature. And once you break through one layer, another will present itself to you. Keep going. Break on through to the other side. An exquisite life requires it. Holy moly, guys. Like, the box may appear as expectations from like a heartless job or the pressure to look or behave as others. We go from the mirror, the shard that is between you and your true self, and you get to the box where you're put under the pressure of having to be someone else. What a trip, guys. What a fucking trip. Excuse my language, but this thread, again, I never cease to be amazed. Okay, so in black on the left, moving outside of the box is exhilarating and expansive, but destabilizing. Others will wonder what you are doing and why you will too. This is part of the process. Okay, and then in red on the right, everything within the box is known. Everything outside the box is unknown. That is the way. That is why it is more comfortable to stay within its walls. Choose freedom. Sorry about that, guys. It's sometimes hard for me to see the screen to read these. Oh, wow. Okay. So when this card is light, it represents structure, order, coherence, logic. When it's dark, it shows limitations, rigidity, judgment, and fear. This card, this archetype, makes me think of the Hierophant. And, the Hierophant is a archetype as well that stands for the rules. And Bill sure had to follow the rules or else he was going to suffer some consequences, right? He still has to follow the rules. He still is in that box because he still has that pressure to live as someone else. Wow, wow, wow. All of these cards are spot on. I cannot believe it. And the very last card, guys, the vow. Like we went over this with Lennon. The vow represents the promise, the oath, or the contract. Here's where the Royal Order of Jesters come in, right? So when the vow is spoken, the air shifts, karmic ties are formed, and destiny tilts on its axis. Our words and intentions have immense power. There is a reason the great mythic stories of our past often include the recitation of oaths and the mixing of drops of blood as a mark of union. So we're talking about blood oaths. The trickery part. See, there's that trickster energy from the mirror. The tricky part is that reciting the vow, no matter how casually, activates the eternal and unseen forces of the world. The ancestors bear witness. The laws of nature respond. These promises cannot be unsaid or forgotten, so breaking them can leave lingering complexities and loose ends. This card calls us to acknowledge the vow we are living by, consciously or unconsciously, and either recommit to it or create a ritual that signifies its closure. You've been underestimating the power of your promises. Oh my goodness gracious me. I just can't, guys. This is too much. This is too much. His Billy's cards out of all of the other four are just amazingly spot on, and I am just blown away. Okay, so let's take a look at the black on the left. Anytime the energy of the vow is present, we are in the archetypal realm of ceremony and ritual. That means time stands still and anything is possible. In the red on the right, think of the last promise you made. Was it to yourself or another? Has it been upheld or broken? Yes, well, we all know that Billy had to make a vow, especially to be in his position of power in the world. He's had to take many vows, many blood oaths, and has partaken in many of a ritual in his day. When this card is light, it's showing bearing witness to the shift towards destiny. And unconscious, when it's dark, it shows unconscious vows, unkept promises, messy karma. So what this is saying to me is, bearing witness to the shift towards destiny. Billy's destiny was to be somebody else. His destiny, he's at his core being, he is an lighthearted, easygoing, uplifting character. But he also got a shard between that self and the new self that he had to embrace in his life to fulfill his destiny, backed by these vows. The mirrored reflection of Paul McCartney, Mr. Billy McCartney, ladies and gentlemen, that is his archetypal spread. Woo woo. That one was amazingly fun. I just can't believe it. The cards want to say something to us. The cards want to confirm things with us. And I just feel very grateful that I'm being used to help in that process. So let me know what you guys think about this one. That is the end of our Beatles archetypal spreads. If you'd like me to do an archetypal spread on somebody else, let me know. Otherwise, I will see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.